if you do a little deep dive on the sector itself, so farm economics has shown some improvement, primarily because of wheat. You would have, I'm sure you are aware of the fact that wheat prices had shown some increase in Q2, and they've seen more increase in Q3. So that's one thing. Rice and cotton has also. One important thing to mention, and maybe you've read in the papers today also, there is also a government looking for price supporting price on the wheat side for farmers at 6,500 rupees. That's also a very positive sign for the market. Just come to papers. I think we're all getting more details on that, but that's also a positive sign for the market and for the farmers, because the farmer economics has been a challenge for the past year and a half as we speak. Floods definitely have we've gone through devastating floods for Pakistan. A lot of damage to the country. A lot of people have lost their homes and whatnot. So we deeply feel for them. But the assessments which you talk about, probably talk about the cropping side, the assessments have shown that the cropping land has not seen that much of damage, which potentially could have happened. So from the cropping side, I think we've not hit that much as much we could have the loss we could have. Water avails was a challenge till early part of this year. You know the dams were sort of low on levels and whatnot, and there was a lot of concern on water. But with this heavy rainfalls and floods, so now I think the water challenge is away with. Input cost will remains because there is still challenge in input cost, but you see certain sort of incentives from the government, subsidies for fertilizers, also for seeds. So that should help the farmers also. So so again, from macro, sort of a little bit on the business on the fertilizer industry. Now, if you can jump directly to our business performance. So if you look at the YTD sales, so for the industry, compared to last year. So we do see a quite a little dip as compared to last year. So the industry has seen a dip. When we look at the industry numbers for this particular quarter, the right chart on the top right, so you see there's considerable sort of sentiment and improvement in terms of sales as compared to last two quarters. So we've seen some uptake. Uh, our market share in Q2 we started off last year. Current similar period last year we were 30%. Last quarter we were 34%, and this quarter we are 32%. So give or take, we've held on to our market share as we speak. In terms of the inventory levels, so last year again was a different year altogether. But if you look at this particular year, Q2, we were at 1.3 billion industry in terms of inventory. We were holding 43% of that particular pie. And now the industry levels have gone down because of the improved sales, and we're holding roughly around the same levels at 46%. So give or take, in terms of a market share, in terms of our inventory levels, we give or take hold similar levels of inventory and sales, and we see and because of the good uptake in the Q3, uh, initially we were estimating a market around 5.7 to 5.8 million tons, but because of the uptake recently which we've seen, we feel that the market will cross 6 million tons this year. So that's a positive sign, and that can be seen in the numbers also. And with all these subsidies and government interventions, we feel the numbers should be better from here. A snapshot about workers. I had updated the forum last time also, that we investing. We've got two options. We have brick and mortar, which is the agro workers, which are offices and shops where we sell also, and also, so that's one thing we're doing, and also investing in our app, which is Ugai, where the investment on our app continues. But in terms of the workers, we took certain initiatives this particular quarter in terms of payment time processing and banking channels, and to make the system more efficient. So we've seen quite a high level of growth in terms of sales through this particular channel. The number still remains very low in terms of overall pie. So the number is I won't say the game changer, but on an individual basis, we've seen great progress in this particular area, and that sort of strengthens our belief in the initiative we've done, and sort of supports us and sort of motivates us to do much more on this side. So moving on from the urea business, if I sort of jump on to the DAP business, so I think this particular graph in the center I think speaks for itself. This is the graph which talks about the sharp price increase we've all witnessed in DAP in the past sort of 6 months or so. I won't even say a year. I won't say 9 months. I would say maybe 4 to 5 months, because you see the graph sort of the spike started from April, May somewhere, and it has started to come down from September. So it's a 4 5 month period. It was severe increase in DAP prices globally. So if you see, our market share has dropped from 19% to only 5% in this particular quarter. Uh, and if you look at this sort of from last year, so we down 21 12%. And the primary reason for this is because the local DAP market did not reciprocate to the sharp increase of international market prices. So our sales and our inventory levels remained low, and that is clearly depicted in our market share of Q3. Having said that, I'm sure you all have seen our financials and our announcements. So now we are carrying a decent inventory of DAP as we speak, and we look forward to sort of serving the market in Q4, because as rates are now stabilized and now sort of are quite better. So that's why you see a dip in Q3, but you will see a better Q4 as we speak. But where DAP was becoming a challenge, DAP prices were definitely on the rise. So Anglo Fertilizers took an innovative step, and we introduced TSP in Pakistan, which is an alternate product to DAP. So the difference between TSP and DAP is that the phosphorus content is the same, but the nitrogen content is different. That's the only difference. So you have to sort of club it up with urea to give the right and the equal sort of productivity. So it was the product available at a lower cost than what DAP is. So we imported that, and now we serve the market. So we've just started that. It was a pilot project, nothing sizable, but the response was quite good, and was well received in the market. And that's one area we will continue to look for opportunities and see how to double down on these efforts. So this is something which we've done and to contribute to the phosphates market. So now, brief snapshot of the financials. I think you all have seen these numbers. I think the public numbers which we had circulated. So it appears does not actually give a very good sign in terms of all reds going down. But this is the reality as compared to last year. The revenue, profitability, and EPS has gone down, and from in terms of quarter from last year, and also the total 9 months. So I'll just sort of go to that slide. So revenue has primarily decreased by 7%. Why? Because I just showed you DAP has been a very low contributor. You all understand the fact DAP has a higher value in terms of revenue, but the margins remain sort of volatile. So if the DAP sales are low, you will see a larger sort of dent on the revenue side. That's one thing. And the other impact is definitely because we have given discounts also to for the urea sales. Having said that, our GP looks higher than last year, so that looks as an anomaly when sales and revenue is decreasing, GP is decreasing. That's primarily because last year, you would recall, we had an impact of imported urea, where the cost had to be taken in the quarter when we had sold them, and the price was recovered over a period of time. So there was a timing difference. That's why the margins were lower. We continuously, even the last analyst briefings last year, updated our sort of analysts about this. That it's a timing difference will always get settled. That was one thing. The other thing was turnaround. We had a larger turnaround last year, which had major costs, which were part of our GP last year. So these two definitely elements are not here this particular year, but we do have higher discounts as mentioned above. So that's a net off, but still overall basis pay. you will see a higher gross margin this year. Having said that, we do have a higher financial charges. Inventory levels are definitely high. We have very high inventory in our balance sheet as we speak. Uh, and that so if I look at the inventory levels from last quarter, so urea, as you saw on the previous slides, remains somewhat the same in terms of inventory levels, but we have DAP on top of that, which we had very low in the last quarter. So that's the differential in terms what you see in terms of our inventory holdings and our margins. Where sort of the financial cost, inventory holding costs have gone higher, but definitely we have a lot of cost optimization measures to cater to the current environment, and those have helped us to somewhat stabilize our net profit margin. Uh, Last but not the least, gearing ratio is higher as compared to first half, and that's primarily because the increase in working capital requirements because we have a high inventory of DAP. And we feel, inshallah, this quarter we will see our inventory sort of depleting because we the expectation and the anticipation of the market get better in this particular quarter. So these inventory levels should be lower by the end of the year. Uh, but having said that, in terms of our gearing ratio, we will there's understand we will be taking some long-term loans, which will sort of be sort of replacing those to sort of fund our long-term projects, including PEP. So contribution, so the company continues to contribute in terms of the government national exchequer. So Alhamdulillah, we've contributed around 20 odd billion rupees so far this particular year, and we remain one of the larger contributors to the national exchequer. And similarly, we still provide sizable amount of import substitution to our farmers and shield them from higher costs because of international urea prices, though they lower than last quarter, but still they're much higher than what they get in the Pakistani market produced by local players. Uh, Last but not the least, the update on pressure gas facility, which is the PEF project. So the project SOAP 1 is completed, and the benefits also in realizing phase 1 of scope 1 of phase 1. Scope 2 of phase 1 has seen some delay, and we were expecting it to complete by Q3 this year. Now we expect to complete by Q4. So there is some delay, but we don't see any negative impact on any gas pressures or any availability of gas due to this particular delay, because it's quite a short delay, and we don't think any impacts will happen with this. The phase 2, the compressors are on the way, and those should also be here on time. So inshallah, the benefits and the objective of PEN will be served totally in due course. Right. So this sort of covers the entire presentation. I'll stop sharing now, and I think we should open the forum for questions. So if you could please raise your hand, and we can take the questions from you. Please go ahead. AHAML. I don't know how to pronounce this.
Hello, I am Umair from Al Habib Asset Management Limited. जस्ट सिंपल क्वेश्चन, आप लोग आगे अपना क्या कैसे मार्केट शेयर डेप का बढ़ाने की कोशिश करेंगे एज इट्स इन डिक्लाइनिंग ट्रेंड? तो व्हाट्स योर स्ट्रेटजी फॉर द फ्यूचर कि आप अपना मार्केट शेयर कैसे बढ़ाएंगे उसमें, एंड व्हाट्स योर स्ट्रेटजी फॉर दैट? थैंक यू.
देखिए स्ट्रैटेजी तो डेफिनेटली वी कंटिन्यूसली मॉनिटर द मार्केट एंड मेक श्योर कि हमारी जो इंपोर्ट्स है बाइंग्स है उस हिसाब से चलती रहे. Definitely, there's also an appetite in the market. You have to supply to those, and it's a game of demand supply and also a game of price. So definitely we will make sure कि जो हमारी efforts है to sell DAP, and which has always been in the past also, that will continue. So there's no new strategy to be honest. It's a similar strategy to what always has been there. we connect with the farmers and we serve them. जी बासी साहब. जी Abdul Basit from JS. I think he dropped off. जी राठौर साहब.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम सर, आई एम वलीद फ्रॉम मेपल लीफ कैपिटल. सर मेरा एक सवाल आपकी सेलिंग एंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन एक्सपेंस है, बिकॉज लाइक वो काफ़ी वेरी कर रही है क्वार्टर क्वार्टर. अगर आप पर बेसिस पे भी देखें तो पहले 2 क्वार्टर में अराउंड पहले क्वार्टर में 200 पर टन, फिर 6000, इस बार 8500 वेरिएशन को कुछ. एंड दूसरे के एंग्रो ने टीएसपी लॉन्च किया, तो उस पर अगर आप बता सकें कि वो डैप के डिस्काउंट पे ट्रेड होती है, मार्केट प्राइस उसकी.
ठीक है, देखिए इसमें जब सेलिंग की बात कर रहे हैं तो थोड़ा सा आई थिंक इसमें लास्ट ईयर बताया था आपको, देयर वाज सम रिक्लासिफिकेशन की थी. ठीक है, एंड इसलिए अगर आप 9 मंथ्स को देखें दैट नंबर, सो दैट बिकॉज दैट विल हेल्प यू टू अंडरस्टैंड कंक्लूजंस करें आप. एंड अगर आप 9 मंथ्स देखेंगे तो दैट विल गिव यू द राइट पिक्चर, बिकॉज व्हेन यू जब आप नंबर्स में कुछ होता है रिक्लासिफिकेशन होती है तो वो नंबर वो different rather to understand. So what I would recommend is the fact that you look at the 9 months number and that will give you the right picture, and that sort of coincides with the number of units tons we've sold, and also coincides with the inflationary pressures. And that's one comment. The other comment जैसा आपने कहा तो इसकी प्राइस जो है वो रफली तो इसकी प्राइस आई थिंक इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग अराउंड 1500 to 2000 रुपीज सस्ती होती है on an average as compared to DAP. So the idea is that because DAP is getting more and more expensive and phosphates की requirements है, so that's why it's not a product जो आपको बिल्कुल half price से मिलेगा या बहुत सस्ता मिलेगा, ठीक है. There is a lower price to it. And that's why the farmer के पास challenge in terms of economics, in terms of funds. So definitely he or she can go for a cheaper product.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम, आई एम मोहम्मद इकबाल फ्रॉम AWD इन्वेस्टमेंट्स. सर मेरा पहला सवाल है कि हाउ मच इंडस्ट्री सेल्स एंड इन्वेंटरी पोजीशन डू यू सी टुवर्ड्स द एंड ऑफ दिस ईयर?
It's a tough question. देखिए if we look at the current inventory levels, and if you look at sales, I think I would say it will be around 1 million tons by the end of the year. Because there is production happening, all plants are alhamdulillah running and on full capacity. There is the decent offtake happening also. So I think it will be close to 1 million tons. So I think it's getting better. लेकिन जो पहले के जो ये sort of accumulation है, इसका primarily impact है, जो कि gradually deplete होगा as things start to improve.
So in that way तो आप एक्सपोर्ट्स फिर हम एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते हैं कि आफ्टर दिस राबी सीजन, अगर जो आप कह रहे हैं ना कि 1 मिलियन टन्स की जो है इन्वेंटरी खड़ी रहती है तो
देखिए ना एक्सपोर्ट्स नजर आता है एक वायबल ऑप्शन, एंड डेफिनेटली वी विल बी टॉकिंग टू, कुछ हमारी बात हुई भी है और अभी बात कर रहे हैं ऑन दिस पर्टिकुलर सब्जेक्ट. लेकिन डेफिनेटली द आइडिया इज टू सर्व द लोकल मार्केट फर्स्ट. अभी जो अपटेक आया है इसमें तो इट्स गुड पॉजिटिव साइन फॉर अस. बट यू राइट, अगर एक्यूमुलेशन ऑफ इन्वेंट्री होती है और स्टेबल बेसिस पे एक सर्टेन नंबर रहता है तो उसको फिर डिप्लीट करने का ऑप्शन में एक्सपोर्ट इज अ वायबल ऑप्शन फॉर श्योर. कोई दो राय नहीं जरूरत नहीं.
ओके राइट. अच्छा सर, हमारी की भी कॉर्पोरेट ब्रीफिंग सेशन थी और क्वेश्चंस वगैरह लोग यही रेज कर रहे हैं रिगार्डिंग गैस एलोकेशन. तो उसमें जो है एक तो ईफर्ट का नाम आ रहा है, फातिमा का नाम आ रहा है, FABL का प्लांट के गैस एलोकेशंस हमारी की जो न्यूली डिस्कवर्ड फील्ड है गजिच और शेवा. तो क्या इस पे कुछ काम हो रहा है, जो आपकी बातचीत चल रही है गवर्नमेंट से, या सिर्फ ये न्यूज वगैरह है या फिर?
ये देखिए डेफिनेटली बात चल रही है। देखिए कैसे एक फर्टिलाइजर मैन्युफैक्चर एसोसिएशन का एक प्रपोजल है पूरा जो कि डिस्कस हो रहा है एट द मिनिस्ट्री लेवल, एंड डेफिनेटली उसके अंदर एलोकेशंस का भी डिस्कशंस है. Definitely, I can't disclose much over here because once it gets approved, then we can probably share details on this. But जैसे जो मारिक ने बताया वो सही बताया. These are under discussion for some time. And आप सुनते होंगे अखबार में खबरें भी आती रहती है उसके ऊपर. So
जी सर
that's on the works. And so once it gets approved only, then I can formally share the details of this. Because you understand, only after approval I can share details. इससे पहले I can't. But you're right, to answer your question, yes, there are things happening and there are decisions happening on this.
ओके सर थैंक यू सो मच
You're welcome. जी आरिफ हबीब, सॉरी, अल हबीब से लेते हैं.
Thank you very much for taking this question. I'm Farhan, head of equities over here. My question is that what's the discount that you offered on urea during the quarter, and what's the urea price? Can you please comment on that? And secondly, can you also state that you said that there's no change in the strategy for DAP? But we've seen that in the last 4 5 years, you were able to sell around 300,000 K tons of DAP on a yearly basis, and on this year we are expecting that around half of it, around 150,000 tons, would be sold during the year. So why is there a shift in strategy? What were the thought process of reducing that size? Were you seeing that the size of DAP market was reducing? That's why you imported less of the DAP into the market, or there were any other reasons for that?
ठीक है, चलो सेम क्वेश्चन. देखिए पहला आपका सवाल था रिगार्डिंग डिस्काउंट्स. तो डिस्काउंट्स देखिए दे सॉर्ट ऑफ होवर अराउंड डिफरेंट डिस्काउंट है. देयर इज नो वन फिक्स नंबर टू इट. So from 250 rupees to 300, 325 rupees तक का एक नंबर, एक एवरेज होता है डिफरेंट सेक्टर्स में डिफरेंट चीजों के साथ. तो दैट्स द नंबर व्हिच यू कैन गिव और टेक इन योर नंबर, इन योर एनालिसिस. दैट्स वन थिंग. डीएपी की जब बात करें, इफ यू गो बैक 4 5 years, तो दुनिया बिल्कुल डिफरेंट थी डीएपी की. आई डोंट थिंक यू कंपेयर दोज विद टुडे. The margins were very high. The industry was quite receptive of the numbers. उस वक्त तो हकीम के हम ऑयल बेचने की बात करते हैं because the numbers were very very high. ये recent shift आया है. It's not only us. The entire industry has seen a dip. ठीक है, डीएपी पाकिस्तान में जितना बिक रहा था उससे बहुत कम बिक रहा है अभी. ठीक है. So and that also applies to urea. Urea last year 6.4 6.5 million tons की मार्केट इजीली होती थी. इस साल अभी तक 6 million tons की हम बात करें तो वही 5 लाख टन से 4-5 से कम हो जाएगा. So point ये कि it's a shift. So it's not about my strategy. It's about the fact that the farmer की appetite and farmer की जो economics है वो impacted है. When the farmer will have money, the farmer will invest and make sure that he buys whatever he wants to buy. जब इकोनॉमिक्स हर्ट होती है तो वो कहीं ना कहीं अपने आप को रिड्यूस करने की कोशिश करता है टू मेक हिज एंड्स मीट. सो इसीलिए आप देखिए डिप यूरिया में नजर आ रहा है आपको, इसलिए आपको डिप नजर आ रहा है डीएपी में. एंड डीएपी इज अ साइजेबल, इज अ वेरी वेरी एक्सपेंसिव प्रोडक्ट, मतलब इन टर्म्स ऑफ कंपेयर्ड टू यूरिया बैग. ठीक है, एप्लीकेशन डिफरेंट होती है लेकिन द अमाउंट इन्वेस्टेड इज वेरी हाई. सो इसलिए मैंने कहा कि देखिए इसलिए आई डोंट थिंक आई रिपीट देयर इज नो चेंज इन स्ट्रेटजी. यस, सेकंड क्वार्टर में, थर्ड क्वार्टर में we were low on our inventory levels because I mentioned that prices locally receptive नहीं थी और where the international prices were going. But again उसलिए देखिए आप देखिए सेल्स भी लो है इसकी. तो इसलिए कह रहा हूँ I think that's all a system of demand and supply. देखिए इसलिए जो आप पढ़ रहे हो अखबारों में कि गवर्नमेंट इज लुकिंग टू सब्सिडी फॉर डीएपी बिकॉज दे अंडरस्टैंड द फैक्ट that people are not buying DAP because it's too expensive and they need to give some sort of incentive to them to buy it because it is important but they're not able to buy it. So that's that thing is good. जी हसनैन साहब. Yes, then we can't hear you. Hassan, sorry, we can't hear you. So I'll have to move to the person, please. So Abdullah Saab, if you can please.
Assalamualaikum, sir. I'm audible enough?
I can hear you.
Okay, Abdullah from NVP Funds here, sir. I have a couple of questions. First one is regarding the third coal feasibility with regards to urea. Like न्यूज में आ रहा है डिफरेंट आई थिंक कंपनीज जो है ऑप्शंस को एक्सप्लोर कर रही है कि थर्ड कोल को रीगैसिफाई किया जाए और उससे फिर यूरिया प्लांट जो है वहाँ पे शायद सेटअप किया जाए तो हाउ एंग्रो सीज इट दिस डेवलपमेंट और क्या इसकी फिजिबिलिटी बनती है इन टर्म्स ऑफ ऑपरेशनल इन टर्म्स ऑफ कैपेक्स आप लोगों की कोई स्टडी रही क्योंकि सिंस यू आर वन ऑफ द पाइनियर्स कंपनी जिन्होंने एंग्रो के लेवल पे एंग्रो थर्ड प्लांट भी लगा और जो है गुड अमाउंट ऑफ स्टडी ऑन दिस एस्पेक्ट तो आप उसको काइंडली हाईलाइट कर सकें
देखिए, coal to gasification definitely is a subject which we are studying also. And you please understand the fact this is a completely different way of producing urea as compared to what power produced in Pakistan. And but yes, there is an opportunity in this, and we are assessing as of now. There are no formal numbers with me कि मैं बता सकूं कितनी इन्वेस्टमेंट होगी और क्या होगा. बहुत वहाँ पे सब different ballpark numbers हैं. लेकिन but yes, this is something which I'm sure a lot of the entire industry is assessing to make sure कि आपकी supply किस तरह से ensure सकते हैं going forward also to the use of coal. जी अब्दुल्ला, आपको कोई और भी सवाल था? आपने कहा था कपल क्वेश्चन है आपके पास.
Yes, sir. On the follow-up to my earlier question, although obviously बात है so I think चीजें firm up नहीं, but still in terms of running cost या अगर जो गैसिफिकेशन यूनिट अगर हम सेटअप करना चाह रहे हैं तो उसकी कैपेक्स कॉस्ट क्या होगी लाइक ठीक है वो नो आई थिंक यूरिया प्लांट अगर 1 मिलियन टन का लगता है शायद वो 1.2 से 1.5 बिलियन टन डॉलर्स पे लग रहा हो बट एक गैसिफिकेशन यूनिट इतने को सपोर्ट करने के लिए क्या उसका एक्सपेक्टेड कैपेक्स होगा इफ यू कैन हाईलाइट
Yeah, sorry, I can't share with those numbers with you because अभी मैंने कहा ना, I just can't share the number at the public forum unless I'm not too sure on the numbers myself. So I'm sorry, अभी numbers जब तक कोई firm नहीं होते चीजों के ऊपर, it's difficult for me to share.
No problem. And my second question pertain to your already ongoing project, Mari Pressure Enhancement Facility. I think the phase 2 has been started, if I'm correct. तो उसके ऊपर क्या अपडेट है कब तक जो उसकी कंप्लीशन एक्सपेक्टेड है और एक्सपेक्टेड जो कैपेक्स है अब आपने कितना उसमें कंट्रीब्यूट करना है अब तक
देखिए, इसमें मैंने बताया था प्रेजेंटेशन में, आई थिंक आप लेट आए हैं फिर, तो मैं लास्ट टाइम तो वही थी. एंड इसके जो फेज 1 का जो स्कोप 2 था वो 1 क्वार्टर डिले हो गया, विच इज जो पाइपिंग वाला पूरा प्रोसेस था, दैट्स नियरली डन. थोड़ा सा डिले इसके अंदर. एंड जो फेज 2 उसका है जिसमें हम सारे जो कंप्रेसर्स परचेज कर रहे थे वो सारे परचेज हो गए हैं एंड ऑन द वे. Those will also come to us in due time. इस साल में इंशाल्लाह आ जाएंगे और कुछ बाकी नेक्स्ट ईयर आएंगे, फिर उनकी सोल्यूशन स्टार्ट होगी. सो उसकी टोटल जो है वो कोई रफली $300 मिलियन के टोटल केपेक्स था ऑन एन ओवरऑल बेसिस. हमारा शेयर था अराउंड 33%, $100 मिलियन. अभी जब फाइनल सारी जब परचेजिंग सारी हो जाएगी सब कुछ होगा, फिर देखेंगे नंबर क्या बनता है. बट आई थिंक वी क्वाइट सॉर्ट ऑफ कॉन्फिडेंट कि नंबर इसी के अंदर रहेगा, इससे ऊपर नहीं जाएगा.
ओके सर एंड लास्टली विद रिगार्ड्स टू आपने बताया एसएमए और डीएमए आई थिंक 300 बैग पर रुपीस बैग भी डिस्काउंट रहा है और 250 रुपये भी रहा है बट एज ऑफ नाउ क्या स्टेटस है डिस्काउंट्स का वो कंटिन्यूड है अभी तक स्टिल रबी सीजन में या डिसकंटिन्यू कर चुकी है कंपनी
नहीं, अभी तक कंटिन्यूड है.
ओके थैंक यू
वेलकम जी. सो मोहम्मद ज़ैद.
Assalamu alaikum, am I audible?
जी, we can hear you.
Beautiful. You might have touched on this earlier in the presentation, but I got disconnected for some reason. It was on the topic of TSP that you launched this quarter. Could you kind of dive in and mention exactly what you that for?
Sorry, Zaib, I lost you in between.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was that you weren't able to understand? I was just asking the price of TSP that you are currently selling that you just recently launched, and as like an alternative for DAP.
So it is, as I mentioned, it is an alternate. Well, it's not a clearly alternate for DAP, but it's a phosphates. It's phosphates, which is the primary content of DAP. Because it's not clearly DAP and the composition is different. Therefore, the price is lower than what DAP sells at. Uh, and I did mention in my discussion earlier, the price roughly around is, I think, give or take 2,000 rupees the difference in the price of TSP and DAP. So I'm not, we're not any by any way claiming the output to be exactly the same as DAP because of the content is different. But yes, it is an option to provide phosphates at a lower cost to the farmers.
Perfect. And I'm sorry, you mentioned it was 2,000 per bag, or is it 2,000 less
Per bag.
than what per bag? Gotcha. And one more question. Could you can you briefly explain exactly what the dealer margins were for this quarter? If you could share those numbers.
Okay, the dealer margins, I think the team will respond to you.
I'm sorry, what was that again? Who's going to respond?
The team will respond to you over chat.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Right. So we have Hasnain. Hasnain, I'm extremely sorry, we still can't hear you. Let me try and find your question on the chat.
I think आपने अलवीब एसेट को आपने चांस दे दिया है फिर से. हसनैन इज नॉट ऑडिबल सिंस. मेरा सवाल आपसे ये है कि जैसे आपने थोड़ी देर पहले बताया कि तकरीबन 250 से लेके 325 रुपए का डिस्काउंट यू हैव टू ऑफर ऑन योर पर बैग ऑफ यूरिया. तो इज देयर एनी चांस कि ये प्रॉब्लम जो आप लोगों के लिए ऑनगोइंग है ये खत्म हो, या तो आपको सेम रेट्स के ऊपर वो गैस एलोकेशन शुरू हो जाए इन द फ्यूचर, या जिनको कंसेशनल गैस मिल रही है उनको स्टैंडर्ड रेट के ऊपर मिलना शुरू हो जाए. कोई इसका मतलब इज देयर अ फिक्स टू इट? कुछ आप लोग करते हो इसके हवाले से बात, या कोई अरेंजमेंट एट ऑल है? इसके ऊपर प्लीज हमें गाइडेंस दीजिएगा प्लीज. थैंक यू.
देखिए, आई थिंक आप दो अलग चीजों को मिक्स कर लें. देखिए, सेलिंग प्राइस और डिस्काउंट्स इज अ प्योर मार्केट फिनोमेना. That has nothing to do with my input costs. So whatever discounts I'm offering today is because the market की appetite है, and I'm trying to serve the market. So I'm trying to make sure that whatever the market is able to absorb, मैं वो दे रहा हूँ. So that's the discounts part. In terms of gas prices, की आपने बात की. As I mentioned, there is a larger FMPAC proposal under discussion. उसमें बहुत चीजें हम as an industry discuss कर रहे हैं with the ministers, with the ministries, and inshallah once that happens, so this will sort of try and cater for the majority of the problems that our industry faces currently. So that's all I can share on this. ठीक है, अब्दुल्ला साहब.
इमरान साहब, आई थिंक गैस प्राइसेस के हवाले से था कि आई थिंक फरवरी 2024 से ही जो है काफ़ी डिस्पैरिटी चलती हुई आ रही. सो व्हाट वी वांट टू अंडरस्टैंड कि डिस्पैरिटी किस चीज़ के ऊपर अभी तक स्टिल कंटिन्यूड है. वो अंडरस्टैंड कि प्रीवियसली यूनिफॉर्म प्राइसेस होती थी, बट ऑन वर्ल्ड ग्राउंड्स जो हमारी की प्राइसेस हैं वो डिफरेंट है. लाइक 580 रुपीज़ एंड आप लोगों की जो प्राइसेस है वो नॉर्थ ऑफ 1500 रुपीज़ है. तो वो ग्राउंड्स क्या हैं और वो स्टिल होल्ड कर रहे हैं या आगे भी होल्ड करते रहेंगे? ऑल्दो वी नो दैट यू आर फाइटिंग फॉर दिस केस यूनिफॉर्म प्राइसेस, बट स्टिल व्हाट आर दोज एक्चुअल ग्राउंड्स जिसके ऊपर ये प्राइसेस अभी तक कंटिन्यू कर रही है?
देखिए, प्राइसिंग जो है ना, ये एक फिनोमेना होता है कि आप कौन सी प्राइसिंग पॉलिसी पे है, आप कौन से नेटवर्क पे है. ठीक है, उनके डिफरेंट तरीके होते हैं टू सेट द प्राइसेस. So as I mentioned कि yes, for different plants, not only for us. अगर आप इंडस्ट्री पूरी देखेंगे तो some plants have a lower cost, some have a higher cost, and it's different altogether, and a different pricing to it. So that is something, as I mentioned, कि इसीलिए ये इसको एक बजाय किसी एक के लिए हल करने के लिए as an industry we've come कि इंडस्ट्री ने प्रपोजल बनाया है for the ministry to try and solve the gas problem in terms of the allocations का भी problem, ताकि continuity रहे supply के अंदर or not. So that's part of the larger discussion which the industry is working on with the ministry. And inshallah, once that happens and once के approvals हो जाती है, then we can definitely share with all of you the details of that. And then you will see कि आप लोगों के जो बहुत सारे discussions and concerns हैं, hopefully उनमें से कुछ address हो जाएंगे. जी अब्दुल्ला. Okay. So I think if I because हसनैन की आवाज नहीं आ रही थी, इनका एक सवाल मैंने देखा था सेट के during July, which helped curiosity during those which sort of sales levels are being witnessed in October. If that's the question Hussein was trying to ask, pre-buying by dealers July and August, which helped curious sales during those months, what sort of sales levels are being witnessed in October? The other question was, what percentage of sales are done through the company's distribution center? So Hussein, if you're still there, I don't know if I can see it or not. But in terms of the percentage of sales from our own channel, as I mentioned, is very, very low. It's still in infancy. हमारे total channels ही हमारे outlet से भी 4 हैं. तो अभी हम और खोलेंगे, लेकिन the number is low. But as I said, the excitement is the fact it's picking up, and we can see people coming in and showing the excitement. That's one thing. Pre-buying की आपने बात की, देखिए, that's a phenomena again. That's not in my control. That's something which dealers, if they feel कि they have an opportunity and they can serve the market, या market में demand आई हुई है तो वो use करते हैं हिसाब से. So that will continue and that will happen, will not happen. And but अब season अभी है, so we can expect कि थोड़ा सा offtake बेहतर रहेगी this season. Right, so if there any further, because I don't see any more hands raised, if there are any further questions for me to try and answer, please let me know. Wanda, we can try and close the session. Perfect. So thank you again to all of you for joining. Again, always great to connect all of you. And inshallah, see you all with our annual corporate briefing, inshallah, in 2026. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. Good afternoon.